It began like any other busy morning in one of the region's largest public hospitals. In a crowded neurosurgical ward, 2 unconscious patients had just been admitted. One was in critical condition, suffering from a blood clot in his brain that required urgent surgery. The other had a non-life-threatening swelling on his head, something that could be treated with medication and observation. The 2 men had nothing in common, except for the fact that both were unconscious and lying in similar hospital beds. Somewhere in the rush of paperwork, stretchers, and staff, a tragic mistake occurred. Their identities were accidentally swapped. As doctors prepared for surgery, no one noticed the error. The wrong patient, the one with the benign swelling, was wheeled into the operating theater. The surgical team scrubbed in, relying on what they believed to be accurate records. Everything seemed routine. The procedure began, and the surgeons carefully opened the patient's skull in search of the dangerous clot. But as the operation progressed, they couldn't find what they were looking for. There was no clot. The brain looked normal. Confusion turned to horror as the team slowly realized the truth: they were operating on the wrong man. By then, the damage had been done. The surgery was stopped, and the patient's skull was closed. The man had undergone an invasive, high-risk brain procedure he never needed. Meanwhile, the actual patient in need of surgery remained in the ward, still awaiting the operation that could save his life. News of the incident spread quickly, and when the public learned what had happened, outrage erupted. How could a hospital, one meant to heal and protect, make such a devastating mistake? In the aftermath, several staff members involved in the surgery were suspended, and senior administrators were placed on compulsory leave. A formal investigation was launched, revealing that a simple patient ID mix-up had led to the error. The entire incident exposed serious flaws in hospital protocols, particularly around patient identification and verification. It wasn't a failure of surgical skill; the procedure itself had been performed with technical accuracy, but a systemic breakdown that allowed the wrong person to be operated on. The man who was mistakenly taken to surgery survived, but the experience left physical and emotional scars. His family was shocked, unsure how to process the fact that a loved one had gone in for basic care and come out with a scar across his scalp, and trauma that would last much longer. The real tragedy wasn't just in the cut of the scalpel, but in the realization that this could have been prevented by a moment's double check. One patient needed medication. The other needed emergency surgery. Somewhere in between, the system failed them both. This incident became a cautionary tale, not just in that country, but around the world. Hospitals reviewed their safety checks. Some introduced barcode wristbands.